The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
This is the Alpha Sessions, and I'm here with Isabella Coulstock. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good.
Good. So we caught you for the first time at the Bedford a couple of weeks back, and that for us as a spectator, I guess, was our first gig back to a fair bit of normality. What's it been like for you? Was it weird playing again after all that time?
Well, I must say, yes, it's quite a change, performing in front of a real audience.
Yeah.
But it feels fantastic to be out there. I'm so glad that everything's opening up again and live performances can start going ahead.
Definitely, because you've got quite a lot of gigs coming up.
Yeah, I've got quite a few things lining up now. Everything's kind of getting back to normal.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Black Deer was going to be a big event for everyone, and it was such a shame for everyone involved.
Oh no, it got cancelled.
And stuff. Yeah, I know, it was such a shame. But that was going to be great. You know, I love the Black Deer, and the ladies there are just brilliant, wonderful ladies.
Have you played before?
Yes, I did. I played last year.
Oh, cool.
And and I was one of the first official Black Deer buskers in its first
year.
Oh,
amazing.
So I kind of went around playing the guitar, around the park and stuff. It's just a fantastic, friendly atmosphere. Everyone's so, everyone that goes, everyone that organises it, they just look after each other so much. Everyone's so nice.
I love that. Like a family vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
So you started the music thing mega young. What was that like? And do you think your style has changed?
Well, so obviously I've always been into music since a very young age.
Yeah.
My parents introduced me to a lot of course. And
what did they introduce you to?
Well, I've always been to, because of them, 70s and 80s music, just all that kind of great stuff, great artists, I'm really
So
inspired.
what kind of artists did you have like playing in the house?
We had lots of Bruce Springsteen, lots of Prince, lots of
cool.
All sorts of stuff, really different kind of stuff. I loved it all, like 80s pop as well, Wham, all that kind of thing. I'm a huge George Michael fan.
Nice.
So I was into it from a very young age, and as I kind of grew up, I got more into musical theatre. And I kind of discovered the stage and felt that it was like my second home ever since. And then I got my first guitar when I was 13, started songwriting, and my style 100% changed. I kind of went from that kind of always wanted to be an actress, always wanted to be dancing, that sort of thing, and then went to country music and was like, I found this, early Taylor Swift stuff I used to really love and really be inspired by, and then watched the program Nashville, got my first guitar, started writing, and then that was, ever since,
Have you been to Nashville?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
No, it's a dream, and it's going to happen. It's got to happen at some point. Yeah.
So for now, you'll just stick to watching the program.
Yes, and just pining for it. Yeah.
Fair enough. And you're playing, or you played Hever Castle?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've done quite a few gigs like that. Different kind of places and big kind of venues like that. Also the Victoria Halls, a few kind of like really notable kind of. I mean, the Bedford itself. And I played the Sound Lounge a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's a great venue.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, there's one in Sutton. It's great. It's what I love about these venues. You go in there and you do your sound check and stuff, and you're like, oh my God, I can hear myself. I can hear everything, every crisp, every word, every strum, and it's fantastic. Real great music. Music places.
So good. People. And I'm happy that there's more and more of them coming about as well, which is good.
Yeah, I know. Supporting all the arts and all the musicians is fantastic. Yeah.
What was it like opening for Jules Holland?
Well, that was an absolute dream, I must say. That was genuinely like such a change from my daily life of being at school all the time. And then I literally went there, and obviously did it in Tunbridge Wells the first time, and Stoke the second. And
oh wow, twice.
Yeah, they asked me back. It was great, and I went there and I had like 3 sound engineers fussing over me, going, "Oh," I'm like, "Oh my God, this is insane!" You look out into the floor and you're like, it's amazing. It was a really dream come true. And then I obviously shared the stage with them at the end. And to be on stage with that caliber of musician, all of his orchestra, all of the wonderful people, is like, you look around, they're all smiling, having a great time, and just being amazing. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And it did make quite a change. Then the next day, having to drive home and get home for double maths, it did make a huge change.
Such a juxtaposition. Oh my God. Especially double maths. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were the audience like?
The audience were amazing. They were singing along to Honky Tonk Beer to all my songs. It was amazing. They were, in the end, they really liked it. Well, I hope so. It seemed like they did.
Did you feel like the pressure when you were playing with Jules?
I didn't necessarily feel pressure. I felt honor is what I felt mainly. I just felt really honored to be up there and then to walk off stage and then him come and go hello. I'm like, oh my god, this is so try not to get starstruck, but I was like, oh,
so hard not to. So hard not to.
Yeah.
You've also had quite a lot of airplay. Does that excitement of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be on the radio, ever go away?
Never. And even with the amount, I've literally, every time I see like my songs being played somewhere, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, I'm gonna be on the radio. To myself, I'm like, oh, it's so cool. And never, I don't think it ever goes away.
Do you know in advance, or does it just happen?
Well, sometimes with Chris Country and stuff, it kind of just, you see a post and it has the list of people that's like kind of players on there, that the tracks are on there. I'm like, oh, okay, nice, fab. That's amazing to be up there with all those artists as well. As a fabulous artist. So I'm like, wow, that's cool.
Why don't you tell me about The Road?
Yes. Okay. So The Road kind of came from, that was a song that I wrote quite a while ago actually. I think it was about a couple of years ago actually. I wrote the kind of lyrics and basis for. And again, this was another case of me this was a back catalogue song where I just kind of went to Chaz. I went, Chaz, got this song, and I just thought, oh, I've got this track. And I think it could be good. I just don't know. I just need to finish it. I can never get the chorus quite right. I can never get the melody quite right here, or but I had all the lyrics I'd written previous. I had them all written down. They were like all kind of developed and tweaked and stuff. So all I really needed was just to kind of get it into a song. So Chaz obviously kind of took it and again did this amazing thing with it. Went, oh, do that chord there, change that melody, do that, and then put this music to it, and then it suddenly became, oh my gosh, now that's a song. That sounds amazing. He brought this great musical magic to it. So we kind of collaborated on that one as well, and it's become one that I do with my regular sets.
For the end of the road, I'm still finding a way back home. I catch my eye in the mirror, looking down. Clouds of dust rise up to the land. The road reminds me who I reminds me who I am. My soul lies behind me, buried in this sand, and the engine's running low. My eyes, they deceive me in a summer's shimmering haze. The rise of an eagle, an angel with a good Lord's face. Reminds me who I am. My soul lies behind me, buried in this sand, and the engine's running low. Yeah, my engine's running low on this God-forsaken road.
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
I also wanted to ask about your work with the John Williams Syndicate,
Oh yeah.
which is really cool. Can you explain like what that is and I guess what you were doing with them?
Yeah, so I knew John through another friend of mine, through another guy, and yeah, we were working on a few bits. He was kind of giving me a few kind of songwriting tips and advice and stuff like that. And it was really interesting actually. And we worked together on a lot of tracks. He wanted me to help him with a few things, few album tracks and stuff like that. And we went back and forth, and yeah, it was great. And he decided he wanted to make this album. And wanted to kind of create these songs and really promote these new artists. A few Slico DiCaprio and Amber Mothero, myself, all of us, and it was great. And he's really good at supporting the young artists. It's fantastic. And so what we kind of did is we wrote, kind of went back and forth with a few tracks. I kind of wrote over these songs, wrote some stuff, and kind of tweaked a few other things, sang on one of them. It was just great fun, really. It was just, and we did a couple of music videos like at his house and around that area. It was great. It was just such a laugh, and that's how I kind of got involved with that. And yeah, hopefully, I think it's going well. So yeah, see.
Because you also feature on the album as well.
Yes, yeah, I do. Yeah, I've got one of the songs You're on My Mind is the one I'm singing, and Spanish song is part of, I wrote part of that, and I wrote, so it's quite, so it's a great, another way of exposure and all that sort of thing, so it's great fun, really, so, yeah.
You involved in the writing process for that as well, or?
Yeah, with a few of the tracks, yeah.
That's so cool. So how did that work?
Well, obviously I just sort of, as I say, I mean, obviously it was difficult over this period of like this year and stuff, because no one's been able to meet, or do anything, and but it's really been, things like Zoom like this is really become a useful tool, especially for songwriting. It's really kind of, it comes into its own, and you get to meet people not just in the country but in the world. You get to talk to people in the world in different countries, going, writing tracks and talking about tracks, and it's just great. And obviously it's not ideal with the latency issues and all that sort of thing, but it's it's really worked, and I think a lot of people have thrived through it. And so with the John Williams Syndicate, obviously what I did is I laid down some vocals here in my little home studio, sent them off to John, and he kind of does this amazing thing where he works them and produces them and makes them sound amazing, and then we kind of went back and forth, changing lyrics, tweaking things, developing, and so made it work. And then we finally got to meet after months and months of working.
Was that completely mad?
It really is. I must say, I've done a lot of these sort of, kind of met people over these Zoom things,
Yeah.
Online, and then you meet them in person. You're like, why are you actually shaking your hand? Is this a real? Is it not just a screen? It's really weird. I know, but it's great though in the end. Yeah.
I wanted to also chat about your home studio, because you mentioned that briefly, and obviously more and more musicians are having to go that way because of the pandemic. Was that something that you were recording from home pre-pandemic, or is that like a post-pandemic thing?
Well, actually, because I only left school a year ago, so I obviously school was my full-time thing, my main, unfortunately, my full-time thing.
No, it's important.
Of course, yeah, and I was trying to do gigs on the side and trying to really get my experience, my 10,000 hours. I think that's very important. And then after I was still at school at the time actually, and then the pandemic hit, everything went and shut down. So obviously I was at home, and we had, the studio was actually done beforehand, thankfully. But the thing that we did do during the pandemic was that my dad built a dojo in the bottom of the garden. So we've got this kind of home gym, which is amazing, which is we were very lucky to have. So I do my training down there. We do all of our exercise down there during the lockdown. It's worked out really well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you played the song "Breaking" for us. Tell us a little bit about that.
Broken is actually relatively new, and I worked on that song with a great friend of mine, Chaz Jankel, and I've been writing with him over the past year, and he was the music writer for all the During the Blockhead stuff.
Amazing.
So all the massive hits and stuff, and I Know Corrida he wrote as well.
Wow.
Fantastic guy, such a lovely man. And we've been kind of cultivating this sort of songwriting friendship over the year, over Zoom, well, not over Zoom, but over like just kind of phone calls. Again, someone didn't meet till 9 months after starting it all. And so what happened with Broken is that I kind of came to him with an idea of a song, kind of with this kind of basis, and then when we kind of went back and forth, and he was like, "I'll change that chord here, change it," and then he put a backing track together, and then it just blew up and sounded immense, and it was amazing. And then a friend of ours, mixed it and stuff, and it was like, and then from there on, I really kind of loved the song. It started, and then tried to do a live version of it. And then that's how that kind of came about, really. Yeah, it just sort of happened.
You were like some overnight sensation. Always thought you were older than you were. Never knew you spent your time just waiting. 'Cause all you did was leave without a word. I was working hard, minding my own business, living my life just the way I wanted. It's funny how everything just changes. In a crowded room, I see your eyes again. There's a distant light and you were standing on the other side. Used to feel like a lifetime away. But don't you find that all love comes easy? When you should go, but all you do is stay.
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
And who features on your current playlist?
What it just see, I've got so many playlists for different things. Do you know what I mean? You have different
Yeah.
for different So like from my walk, I go on my walk every day. So I like to kind of have a lot of it's a lot of Prince, a lot of a bit of Meatloaf actually. It's quite fun.
Okay.
Yeah. And also I love a bit of Stevie Nicks as well.
Nice.
Kind of gets like Edge of 17 gets me go yeah. And what else have I got on there? I've got a bit of Sheryl Crow, a bit of Bruce Springsteen, just all my favourite artists, really.
Yeah.
And I have to say, a bit of my kind of guilty pleasure when I'm doing either baking or whether I'm working out. I love a bit of Dua Lipa here and there as well, like some of the dance tracks, But yeah, so.
Because I've seen you also do some like baking and martial arts, lots of like crazy stuff. Is that what got you through all the lockdown?
Well, I mean, they're just kind of my little hobbies on the side, really. I mean, baking I just love to do anywhere. I like to take shortbreads wherever I go, especially gigs. It's always good to get a sound engineer, shortbread, just incentive, added incentive. But with the martial arts I've been doing since I was very young. My dad is training me, teaching me. I'm going for my black belt at the moment. So that's kind of, and that was a big reason for the dojo as well, at the bottom of the garden.
Yeah.
To kind of keep up with all that. But yeah.
Amazing.
What about you? What's got you through all the lockdown?
I'm not used to being interviewed. That's weird. I learned Spanish, which was pretty fun. I was furloughed from my day job, so it was like crazy in terms of like just everything coming to a standstill. I've only actually just gone back recently. But yeah, Spanish, lots of home improvements. I guess you find a way to get by, really. Everyone does. I think baking as well. I think baking for a lot of people became quite a therapy. So
it did, yeah, definitely. Well, ¿cómo es tu español ahora?
Yeah, definitely. Let's not continue down that road.
No, fair enough, of course.
But that's the weird thing, like, because we were obviously in lockdown, like I haven't been able to practice the verbal side of it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Like I've literally been doing on and app for like a year.
Oh my god!
But I'm excited when we're allowed to head over to a Spanish-speaking country, and hopefully put it into practice. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, gosh, I love Spanish. Yeah.
Oh, do you speak? Apart from
I took the A level.
Okay.
I tried to keep my hand in a little bit.
It's hard, isn't it, when you don't have anyone to practice with?
Well, learning any language, it's like learning an instrument. I suppose is one of the things that people always get to a certain age. They go, "Oh, I wish I'd done that," So I'm kind of
absolutely. And learn a language when you're young. I would always say do it. It's much better than learning it when you're a fully grown adult. You don't pick it up as well, I would say. Anyway. Do you find that like when you write a song and you go to someone else and you say that's not quite right, like it takes quite a lot for you to be self-critical, or would you say that you are more that way than the kind of I think this is great?
I'm definitely I'd say I'm quite self-critical with things. I'm definitely like when I'm in the studio and doing vocal recordings and stuff, I'm very I like to be meticulous with my vocals. I like to make sure that I want someone to go to me, no, actually try that. I love just experimenting and doing all sorts of things. And for me, I'm like, whatever's best for the song, whatever's best for the performance, for the record, whatever it is, I will, happily do, whatever. I like taking other people's opinions and going, oh, well, what do you think? Because people always, when you're writing, especially if you're writing on your own, it never hurts to get an opinion from someone else or going, that just sees it from a different light, that's not attached to it. It's quite an interesting, viewpoint, which I really welcome. So do
you have like a handful of people that you seek opinions from, like in a situation like that?
Well, I mean, I guess in a way, all these people I've been writing with over the past year, I've really learned, I learn a lot from them. I learn a lot from collaborating with people and all sorts of things. And I think I go to my parents a lot as well, because I just know that their opinion is completely unbiased, and they'll just be like, no, and
it's
completely it's completely
So are really excited and you've written that song and you have recorded, I guess, like a demo version. Who is that first person to hear it?
The first person to hear it? Well, again, my parents. I mean, if it was a collaboration, obviously, Chaz. But then my parents would be the first people to hear it. Absolutely, yeah. And then they'd be very, very, either they'd be very honest, which is what you need,
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, no, I'm very lucky to have all their support, and with everything I do, I'm very lucky to have them supporting me the whole way. They've never gone, get a real job,
Yeah.
They've always, been really,
it is a real job. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I feel very lucky to be able to do what I love to do, at the moment.
Talk to me about if you could have a dream collaboration with anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would it be with?
Dead or alive? Oh my god.
Sorry, that's a big question.
Oh my god, this is such a hard question. Okay. Well, there's just so many people for so many different reasons. So for example, like I'm a huge when I was learning guitar, my huge inspiration was Brad Paisley.
Nice.
I felt I'd watch him on stage and I'd be like, literally, when someone's so much your hero, your idol, and then you see them live for the first time in your own country, and he came over, I saw him at the O2. And the O2, obviously, you can barely see anything at the O2 because you're so like far away. And but I saw him and I literally cried when he came out on stage. I was like, oh my god, no way. So I would love to collaborate with him. I'd love to collaborate with people like Brandy Clark or Casey Musgraves. I think they're fantastic songwriters, and I'd love to be in a room and just watch their process and be just in awe of them. And as a performer, I think to be alongside people like Prince, George Michael, Freddie Mercury, Mick Jagger, those sort of people, the way they perform, I take a lot of inspiration from. The way that they just look like rock stars in every angle and everywhere they go. They're just fantastic people, geniuses.
So
really.
all of them on a stage together, like a super group? Is that what
I think I'd just pass out if they were on the stage. But yeah, well, but yeah, and especially Prince. I look at him and I go, wow, the amount of genius that came from one man. That the instrumentalist, the songwriter, the performer, the whole image, the whole person. Amazing. But yeah.
Okay, so we're forming a super group with all of those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be pretty hard now.
Get a phone call, and the phone call basically says that you can play on stage with these guys, and you can play anywhere in the world. Where would it be? Like, what venue?
For me, it would probably be the Royal Albert Hall.
Wow.
Because that's a real dream of mine to play.
Yeah.
Like, well, it is the dream place. For me, the O2 is a little bit too bassy for me, but the Royal Albert Hall is just. I've been to so many concerts there, and I would just be. It would. It's just
the acoustics in there are insane, aren't they?
Oh, and it's not just that, but the whole way you go in there and you just look up and you're like, you feel so small yet so it just. I feel like honoured just to walk in there. I feel like, oh my gosh,
You feel like special, don't you? Just to be part of it.
I know.
100%.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about them is they can do like really stripped back full orchestra shows, but then also do like, I don't know, Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds. Do you know what I mean? So like literally like one extreme or the other, which is really cool as well, and everything in between.
Thing, yeah. I mean, funnily enough, I saw Casey Musgrave. I was so lucky enough to see.
Amazing. Yeah.
She was just brilliant. I mean, her voice anyway is just phenomenal. But then to hear her in such a clear way and right there, and you're like in such a great place was really. I was like, I want to be up there. I want to do that. I really want to do that. It's amazing.
So good. Okay, so super group at the Royal Albert Hall, and you can have anything on a rider. What would be on your rider with George Michael, Prince, Casey Musgraves, and co?
It's quite a mix of styles there, I must say.
But that's totally fine.
So on my rider,
don't forget you're ordering for like all these guys as well.
Oh my god, what a question. Well, I think this is a really difficult question. I would just have like, well, I don't even drink, so I wouldn't even have any alcohol.
That's totally fine.
I don't know. I don't know what you'd have on the ride. So, that's a really tough question. I've never thought about that. That's mad. I've never had a ride. I've never like had a rider before for any sort of gig as such. I think some kind of cool. What's cool food? What's cool food and cool drink? They're cool people. You know what I mean? They feel like they need to match that vibe.
So finally, I wanted to ask you before we go about your song "Crazy Cowboy."
Yes. Well, that started. So I got my guitar when I was 13, and I immediately just kind of fell in love with
I love that.
songwriting, and that was the first one that I wrote when I was 13.
Wow.
Yeah, I wrote it. Yeah, kind of started writing it in kind of 2 months later and sort of finished it. And then that was really it. And then it seems to go quite well down at my gigs. Goes down well. So I kind of play it at the end. It's always my last song. I always imagine. But yeah. So that's that really, and also I played it at school as well when I was 15. I think I played it in front of all my peers, all my year group, and as you can imagine, that's probably one of the most scariest performances I've ever done. It was worse than any sort of big huge stadium gig I could imagine.
Give her the O2 any day.
Yeah, literally, not people my age know. But people seem to remember it. Mocked me for it, but remembered it. Well, that's the main thing. That's what I took from it. They remembered the song. But yeah.
Nice. And if people want to find out more about you, where can they go? What can they do?
I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, Isabella Coulstock Music. I have a website, isabellacoulstock.com, all pretty simple. And Twitter as well, Music Coulstock. And so I'm most platforms. Not TikTok yet, but yes, most platforms.
Is that going to be the next one?
I don't know. I will have to see. I will have to try a trend and try a new challenge. Yeah, see. But yeah.
Well, thank you so much for spending the time to chat to us today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure, and hopefully when you're a little bit more this way in terms of geographically, we've just started up our in-person studio sessions again, which is really exciting. So it'll be great to get you down at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be fantastic. Cool.
I was walking down a dusty track, the head held high, not looking back on you, boy. I try to take the best of me, I ain't having that, your history now, boy. As I walked in, it was open mic, and you caught my eye. You had face telling you turn around as I walked on by. I said, hey, you crazy cowboy singing at the bar, trying to be a big country star. Hey, you crazy cowboy, you shouldn't be afraid of falling way too hard. I wasn't looking for friends, I wasn't looking for love, I wasn't looking for a sign from the stars above, but you, boy. The lights go low 2 minutes to show. I hold my breath, I wanted to go from you, boy. You took the stage and you told the crowd this one's for me. I said that's why I don't have the time, just let it be. Hey, you crazy cowboy sitting at the bar trying to be a big country star. Hey, you crazy cowboy, you shouldn't be afraid of falling way too hard. I ran